And yeah, let's talk about Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, Red Dead Redemption 2, I've been talking about it a lot on our website. I had a very early impressions when I had about 12 to 14 hours with the game. And because I didn't get to play it at launch, and I'm not complaining about my situation, but I was in Mexico, so I didn't get to play it at launch. So I had to wait a few days to play it. And when I did, I just did nothing that whole day. I sat there and binged on that game and just filled it and put it all over me. It was great. It's gonna be really hard to not have Derek here and reel me in. I played a lot of that, and immediately I wrote on the website how I felt about it. Posted my review this past Monday. Yes. Oh man, my days are starting to blur together because I've been playing so much freaking Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't know what day of week it is, but yes, I went back and played more of it. Put up my review on Monday, and what's funny is I did not finish the story mode before I put that review up. And some people might think, hey, that's not a proper review. You got to beat the whole story mode. By the time I had posted that article, I had spent 50 to 60 hours with the game. So I think that was enough to warrant a review. I played enough of this game to get a very good idea of it. If I've played that much in a week's time, just constantly, that's all I did with my free time was come home and play that game, I think I got enough to give you a review. And in that review, some of the stuff I will talk about in this, I did talk about in the review. So if you want to check out that review, go ahead and do that on loudopinionated.com. You could read along. Well, I'm not going to read along because I'm not going to read it. But you could read along with what I'm saying and think if I'm right or wrong or if I'm a crazy person. That's all up to you. That's the beauty of what we're doing here. So Red Dead Redemption 2 is... I can't stress this enough. Anybody that hasn't played this, I don't think you understand how massive of a game this game really is. Holy cow, this game's huge. And I've never played a game where I've felt so insignificant around the world. And as a video game, as a rule, you would think that's a bad thing about a game. And this game is different because I just can't quite put my finger on it, but there's just something about the idea that I am not this imposing figure that's the whole world relies on me and everything that happens in the world is because of me. There's something oddly satisfying about that. I mean, for instance, and I'm not trying to completely compare the two because they're both open world games where they're both completely different games. But when I played Spider-Man on PS4, that's what that was. I was Spider-Man. I was having an impact on the world. Everything I did mattered. If I failed, then New York City is ruined. You know, the bad guys win. In this, if I fail, everybody goes about their day. Nothing changes. Now, do my actions change? Do my actions cause some characters to react differently to me? And that is the change? Sure. That's very much a thing. But I don't know. There was just something interesting that I felt so small in this world that's so big. And that's so bizarre. Because again, you know, I said it already. In a video game, you have to feel like you matter and you're the only person on the planet that can stop what's happening. And this game's quite the opposite. Because you kind of do play as the bad guy. Some other things, I didn't touch on this in the article, and I'm surprised because it was something that did weigh on me in the game. For whatever reason, this game feels a lot more violent and brutal than any other Rockstar game that I've played. And I don't know why, because Rockstar has some very sick, violent video games. For the people that played Manhunt and Manhunt 2, you know what I'm talking about. But the brutality in this game feels, maybe it's the graphics, maybe it's because this isn't what I was expecting. Because I mean, in the first Red Dead Redemption, you play as a retired outlaw. John Marston has already given up that life. John Marston's already tried to move on and live his life, and In this one, you're in the thick of it. You're still a part of this gang, and you're still beating up people. You're still killing people, robbing people. You are the outlaw. This isn't after that. You're in the middle of it. So you're not a good dude, and those actions kind of shocked me a little bit. And I think that's what Rockstar was intending. But there's some stuff in here where I do some really despicable stuff, and I felt dirty about it. I didn't feel when well, I guess it's early on, but you're robbing trains. That's what you do in this game. You can rob trains. You can pretty much rob anything. But you're robbing a train, and somebody isn't giving money, and then you hit them. Like, you straight up just punch them with your gun, and then they give you money. And you keep doing that progressively throughout the train. I didn't like doing that. There was something about that. Well, first of all, I'm like, I'm already being a bad person by robbing people, but now I'm going to beat them and humiliate them and intimidate. And maybe that was Rockstar's intention, but when I was doing it, I was like, I don't know about this Arthur Morgan dude. I don't know how I feel playing this character. Luckily, by the end of the game, when you do get to the end of it, Arthur Morgan is one of the best written characters in any video game. I'll go ahead and say that, and I'll say he is. I can't commit to that because I love John Marston's arc, but he is definitely one of the best written Rockstar characters. This is Rockstar's best story. And I did like GTA 5 story, but I just feel like there was something else to this story. I feel like there was a lot more where GTA 5 is a lot more campy and satirical. This is very serious, and it cares very much about the story it's trying to tell, and it takes its source material very seriously. The game is very funny at points. There's some things that I thought did not expect going in. There were some really funny bits throughout, but yeah, I'm kind of all over the place on this because there's so much I want to talk about this game. So I'm gonna get back on track with how massive it is. The story itself, they do an amazing job. That even though what I said about the brutality and the violence of this game, I still find ways to like these characters. And I think Rockstar does a great job with their pacing. Now, there's probably going to be a lot of people that are upset with the pace and how deliberate it is early on. But I think, and some people might say, with all this stuff to do and all this choice it tries to tell you, but then Rockstar is very deliberate and makes you play the way they want you to play. I understand that criticism. I think there's some valid criticisms to this game. I don't think it's perfect, but I'm telling you right now, I've played probably 60 hours, and I still have a ton of stuff to do, and I still want to go back and play it. But I think that deliberate, slow burn at the beginning is effective in making the story work at the end. If that makes sense. I don't think that you have a big of a weight on these characters if you don't have a slower pace, if you don't have the time. And this could change a player too, but if you spend more time at the camp getting to know these characters, this ending is even more heartbreaking. That's the thing too. This game is sad. If you thought Red Dead Redemption 1 was sad, holy hell, this game is so sad. And it works effectively because of that deliberate, slow movement. And what works effectively for me is the fact that what would be regular tutorial missions turn into plot moving missions. Fishing, the tutorial mission for that, a huge plot point happens. And there's so much to this game. It's so freaking layered. That's what blows my mind. I was thinking about how in-depth and detailed it is. I mean, there's one story I share in my review. There's another story that just happened to me Wednesday. Wednesday night is when I finally finished the story mode. And there was a little break between missions, and I was trying, which I still haven't found this bastard. I was hunting for the legendary alligator skin. I wanted to get the legendary alligator, kill him, and get a skin, which I'll touch on hunting in a minute. And while I was doing that, I said, you know what? I'm going to give up on that. I'm going to keep trying to finish the story and get to the end of this. And as I'm doing that, I run into this random house that's like kind of off the beaten path. None of the houses are really marked, which I find interesting. So if you could, and that's another thing that's great about this game. There's so much stuff that's marked and that you could do and be a part of, but there's also a lot of stuff that isn't marked that you could run into and have a whole branching quest line. And that's what happened to me. I go to this house and I try to break in because I think it's locked. Then in the back, there's like a side door. So I come around the front to the porch, and then there's this big fat guy in overalls rocking back on a rocking chair and talking to me. It's like, oh, we're so excited to see me. He's like, oh, we never get guests. This is great. We're out in nowhere. And this is like the Saint Denis area, which is like the Bayou, Louisiana, New Orleans type area on the map. So he's super excited to see me. Once he's like, oh, we never get guests. Come inside, have dinner with me. And I have my hand by the holster of my gun because I'm thinking something's going to happen, because most of the interactions that I have with people in this game are not good. They're usually bad. And a lot of it can be on my own fault, because there's several times where I just keep talking shit. I like to do it. I like to antagonize because I think some of the stuff he says is really funny. That's not the point. So I'm trying to get in the house. He invites me in. He sits down at the dinner table. He's like, go talk to my wife and get her, make sure she's getting ready. Make sure she gets ready. She takes forever, blah, blah, blah. So go up there, talk to her. Some of the stuff's kind of menial. Come back down. And again, I sit at the table and I'm eating, and I'm waiting for the bottom to fall out. And that's what I think, someone who's played a few Rockstar games, you get that idea of like, when is this going to turn south? Because this is what Rockstar does. They take you whenever they've built a world of so much nihilism and cynicism that you're like, okay, something's up. One of these dudes is going to mess with me. And then he proceeds to tell me that I find out later that they're siblings, the wife and the fat guy, who are very friendly with each other. And that was the part where I was like, I need to get out of this house because this is going to end really weird for me. But this is also the problem of the game. My curiosity was getting the better of me, so I stayed. They offered me a drink. I took the drink. Sure enough, they offered me another drink. And this is probably where the part where I'm like, all right, Jake, you got to get out of here because something bad's going to happen to you. But I take another drink because of my curiosity. They knock me out. They take my money. And I'm in a ditch with a dead body on top of me. And I'm really pissed because I'm like, oh, crap. This is an unmarked area. I don't know where I am right now. I'm not. And I had a lot of money because I exploited a glitch. Don't do it. Don't tell anybody, Rockstar. Don't tell Rockstar. So I'm like, oh, great. Now I lost all this freaking money. Now I'm going to start over. But luckily, my horse was marked on the map, and my horse was still by the house. So I run back to the house. I break in. I kill them both. Get my money back. And I was kind of just taken aback by it because that is something I could have absolutely missed. Nothing I could have played, and it would have been none the wiser. It was a weird, bizarre thing that you don't think would be put into a game like this, but they've pretty much thought of everything. And then there's another story one, or side story mission that I want to talk about. I'm going to try to do my best to stay away from the main stuff. Because there was a break in my playing where I spent, I don't know, about 40 hours in the game. Afraid I was going to finish the story too fast. So I took a break from all that and was hunting and fishing and doing all these side missions. I meet the tech in Rhodes, and I think that it's going to be a regular, because it starts off as a run-of-the-mill fetch quest. Oh, I need these 3 items. Go to this place, get these 3 items, whatever. Working on a plantation and beating slaves, and there's a trap door to his basement, and that's where he had them in shackles and was beating them. And I felt disturbed by this and disgusted. And then I go and find the guy, and luckily the game has a good, at least for this aspect, has a good moral code. and I throw away stuff in the fire. There's a cutscene for that. And then I shot him in the head, but the chaotic nature of Red Dead 2, he burned up in the fire because he had a campfire. I thought that was great. But those two side missions to me are just, and that, well, I guess there's another one. There's so many side missions here, but that level of detail and thought put into these games is why I think Rockstar is one of the best developers at making open world games. As much as I love Fallout and what Bethesda has done with that franchise, you don't always see small, minute things like that in Fallout games. And if you do, I don't think they're executed as well. That's probably my big takeaway, is the writing and the voice acting, and everything you do in Red Dead 2 is done at such a high level of quality that even though these kind of things might exist in other open world games, this managed to feel fresh and new. And I think a lot of games try to do that and aren't successful. And yeah, I think I'm done here. I spent about 20 minutes talking about this game. I'm sure I could talk for more. I would love to do a spoiler talk because there's a lot of interesting things that happen in the story, particularly the end, that really get to me. Like the ending itself is just heartbreaking. And yeah. Oh, I want to talk about the horses. This is a mechanic. When I watched the old video when I first saw the gameplay footage, I didn't see that into this whole idea of having to have one horse be attached to you and you bond with it. I was way off base with that because I love animals and I don't currently have pets. So this was my virtual pet. The minute I could pet it, that's the thing. When I started patting him on the side, I was like, oh God, now I'm going to be hooked because I have to care for this thing. So I'm constantly feeding it. I'm constantly brushing it. And this is something I noticed I've been doing a lot when I'm writing. There's a button you click to calm them down if something's going wrong, but it also works to encourage the horse. Don't know why I do it, but I do, to tell the horse they're doing a good job. Because again, they're my virtual pet. I had one horse die on me, and I murdered a whole town for it. So if that says anything about Rockstar's ability to make me care about a virtual horse, there you go. Pancake didn't deserve the death he got. That's all I'm saying. He was a good horse. He didn't deserve it. And he was a pre-order bonus. That's the most annoying thing. Anything else I haven't talked about? No, I think I'm good. I think I've talked about everything. Thank you so much for watching or listening or however you get this podcast. Again, we are on iTunes and Spotify and pretty much anywhere you get podcasts. It's up there. And I hope you continue to take this journey with what Loud and Opinionated is going to become. And I hope you stick around for the cool, different content we're going to keep making for the website. And if you want to contribute to the website yourself, you can just you email us your article about whatever you want to talk about. We're not in the business of silencing people or saying your opinion sucks. No, we'll post it unless you're probably a racist or a Nazi. Then you're not going to get it put up on the site. That's just the truth. But yeah, you can email us at beloud@loudopinionated.com. We're looking for 300 to about 1,000 words. It's going to be like a blog post. If it's longer, that's fine. We'll figure it out. We're not here to worry about that. You can follow us on Twitter at Loud Opinionated. You can like us on Facebook, Loud Opinionated. And thank you so much.